During the Cold War era, uranium mining was booming all over the former Soviet Union because the USSR wanted to create bombs to increase their power, their influence, their global influence, to show the West what they got. And I'm here in Kyrgyzstan, a country with lots of uranium. And here in this country there used to be a lot of uranium mines during the Soviet era.
Вот это все отходы. Закрыли, уран закрыли.
I'm here in a post-Soviet town. I'm in Kaji Say. Nowadays, this town is almost half abandoned. But during Soviet times, it was booming. There was a huge uranium processing plant nearby. And today, together with you, I want to explore what's left of this town, and hopefully we can even get a glimpse of this old uranium processing plant. I'm here in Bishkek at the Marshutka station. I just found my bus and now we're gonna go to Kaji Say. We finally made it to the beautiful town of Kaji Say, here near Issyk-Kul Lake in northern Kyrgyzstan. And yeah, we're in the middle of the nature. And I just checked into my guest house over there, Svetlana's guest house. Now we're gonna have a walk around and see what we can find here. We've reached some asphalt up here. And if you look around, you can see this place is quite different to Bishkek, where we traveled from today. Hi. He's very talented. So the town of Kaji Say didn't always used to be a town. Before Soviet era, it was a settlement, and only in the 1950s and 60s did this town get developed, because here around in these huge mountains, brown coal was found in 1947, and later on they also found uranium, which they needed for their weapons. And that is when they started developing this town and bringing in people from all over the Soviet Union to mine the uranium, but also to process ore from other mining towns. The most popular one, or the most well-known one, is probably Su, which is further down in the south. Nowadays there is no mining here anymore. And to be honest, I don't think there's much going on here anymore in general. I think we're getting closer to the center of the town, and it definitely seems to get a little bit more busy. I'm actually surprised about how many people there are around, because after the fall of the Soviet Union, all of the mines around here were actually closed, and so was the processing plant. And with that, all the jobs vanished, and the mining industry was never replaced with any other kind of industry here. All these buildings here on the side look pretty abandoned to me. Let's have a look what this used to be. So that up here means police. That's a police station, so it might look abandoned, but since I've seen a few police cars driving around, it's probably still in use, even though it doesn't look like it. There's another abandoned building over here. This one I'm pretty sure nothing's going on in there anymore. That here, that is definitely not in use anymore. Not sure what it was. The name up there translates to Dichurek. But yeah, this is so fascinating walking here. It almost feels like a ghost town. There used to be a lot of mining here in this country because Kyrgyzstan had a lot of uranium, and during the Soviet Union a lot of similar towns to Kaji Say were built. And that's why nowadays we have so many of these like ghost-like towns here in Kyrgyzstan, because they all had pretty much the same ending. The Soviet Union fell, the mines were closed, work vanished, most people left, and that's what's left over of the town. So let's have a look up here. Yeah, it's definitely a local drinking spot, and as I noticed in the marshutka ride, people like to drink all day. So that here says youth center. This building used to be a youth center, probably where kids and children could play after school. Nowadays it's all barricaded off. Oh, there's actually a door open. So I don't think we're gonna have problems with homeless people here. Maybe let's see. Oh yeah, it's open. Wow. Wow. So here we have beautiful art. This must have been a kitchen probably, or the dining room. We have all the food here. Wow, this is all open. It's pretty dark in here. Yeah, that's pretty dark, and it doesn't smell very well either. So this doesn't seem to be connected to the rest of the building, unfortunately. So we cannot explore all of the building, I think. That here used to be a wholesale store, as the sign says up here. Nowadays, there's so many of the buildings, it's abandoned. And there are more kids playing here in the street. The interesting thing is, like, you see a lot of kids around here, and you also see a lot of old people, but there's not much in the middle. I think once kids get a bit older, they will move to a bigger city, maybe Karakol or Bishkek, for education purposes. Not only a lot of the public buildings and supermarkets are closed, also homes. Because a lot of people left after the fall of the Soviet Union because there were no jobs left. And it's estimated that during Soviet times, when there was mining going on here, there was an estimated population between 5,000 and 7,000. After the USSR fell, around 50% of the population left. So 50% of this town just suddenly became abandoned. And over here we seem to have some sort of alleyway. Let's have a look in here. Yeah, that's pretty. Or I mean, what's left of it is pretty. And right over here we actually have a tank. So let's see if we can get up close. Here we have a World War II memorial. And all the people here, all the fallen soldiers from this town that fought in the Great Patriotic War. And up here we have a hammer and sickle in a star. And the tank, probably this tank was used in the war. And now we have it here on display in front of this absolutely beautiful scenery. And up here I can see a Lenin. Here we have him in all his glory. It's not that easy nowadays to find Lenin statues in Central Asia. So that's beautiful, especially in front of that scenery. And that behind here probably used to be the Palace of Culture. And unlike many of the other buildings we saw, this one looks like it got renovated. And I think it's also still in use. I saw a couple of kids coming out. So that's probably the replacement for the youth center, which is now abandoned. And up here on the building you can actually see the hammers and sickles still. On this side. And here on the other side we have the emblem of the Kyrgyz Soviet Socialist Republic. That's beautiful. There is exactly one restaurant in this town, and it is right down here. So let's see if we can find some food. And let's hope that they can modify it for me to be vegetarian. Here we are. Hi, привет. I ended up going for a lakman, a very typical dish here in the region. It usually comes with meat, but they actually modified it. It's like hand-pulled noodles with capsicum and cabbage and some garlic. So we have the hand-pulled noodles here with some sauce and veggies. So that dish reminds me actually a lot of goulash, in case you know that. It's a typical dish where I'm from, goulash. And they use a lot of similar vegetables because a lot of similar vegetables grow here, like the same grow in Germany. So definitely a similar taste profile. And yeah, it's really good. So cheers. Dinner was pretty good and a huge portion. It's 7 p.m. now, it's gonna get dark soon. So I think I'm gonna head back to the guest house, and tomorrow we're gonna try to find the leftovers of the processing plant of the ores. And there are uranium tailings here somewhere in the mountains where we should probably not get too close, but that's what we're gonna try to find tomorrow. Before heading back to my guest house, I want to show you this picture of Lenin here, up here on the mountain. Up here we have Lenin towering and watching over the town of Kaji-Say. Okay, so someone's bringing back their goats over there, back home to the stable. So I'm actually not sure if these boys on their bikes are bringing these goats back home or they're just chasing them around for fun. But yeah, we're very, very rural here. Very rural. And it's very peaceful. And the nature is absolutely beautiful. And if people come here, it's usually because of the nature or because of the Peace Corps. There are actually quite a few Americans here working for the Peace Corps. Good morning to another beautiful day here in Kaji Say. I just wanted to go back to the restaurant to have breakfast. We have 10 a.m. though. There's no chef there yet. So let's have a look to the supermarket over here and see if we can find some food. Because today we have a lot of plans. Today we will try to find the abandoned uranium processing plant. And first, I need to get some coffee and some food. I think this country here runs on energy drinks and tea, because I cannot see any coffee here. And you know, like I'm looking for these canned coffees. So I guess I'll have to adapt and have some energy drink. Fill my body with nitro. And I also got this whole bag of breads because I only had 4 pieces for sale. That's definitely gonna be enough breakfast. And then after eating, I'm gonna try find someone that can drive me to the nearby mining site or processing site. So, cheers. So it's 10 a.m. in the morning. I just got greeted by another drunk guy. And now let's see if we can find a taxi or someone who can drive me to the nearby mining site. It's like about 5 kilometers from here through the mountains. It's possible to walk, but if I can find someone who can drive me, that would be even better. Привет! Привет!
Вот такси. Вот.
So, got a guy driving us there. From what I've heard, the site is heavily guarded nowadays, so we're gonna have to see if we can even get close. Because I mean, it is dangerous. Uranium is a real threat, it's not a joke, so let's see what the situation is like.
Ну, смотрите, вот так.
So down here, he just said these are the uranium tailings. That's where they dumped the uranium after processing it. He just dumped it out there into the mountains. So we're here. Wow.
Вот здание, вот здание. Идемте сюда. Вот глубина, вот, которая глубина заходит в это, как его, урановые это шахты. Вон там, и вот так может обходить. Сейчас уже все брошенное, короче, все здания, короче, закрыли. Уран. А я здесь работали мы. Вот это все отходы закрыли, уран закрыли. Сверху. Вот здание. Вот когда работали, это здание было. Вот это столовая, там контора. Вот видите. Сейчас уже это все как хвостохранилище. Все замуровали, закрыли. Она идет до берега, вон, до озера, короче.
Yeah,
Вот так может обходить. Вот так. Там после этого завод было. Там шахта. Это закрылось в 1964 году. Вот это здание, весь это. Потом брошенный же осталось. После этого закрытия у нас началась шахта, уголь добывает. Потом, как еще там, кремний и еще вот это завод и диоды начал выпускать. А уран закрылся-то после этого. Жизнь идет.
right here, we have 600,000 tons of uranium, and it's only covered by a thin layer of dirt and gravel and soil. And I haven't seen a single warning sign or a fence while driving here.
Вот это весь уран, когда дождь, она туда уходит. Сейчас сверху закрыли. Сейчас никуда не уходит. Там дамба закрыта там. Все вот это было когда-то. Потом закрыли. В 64-м закрыли. И у нас даже долгожители. 70, 80, 90, вот, которые возле урана жили, они даже долгожители, короче, 80-90 лет живут. А здесь вот это здание, вот здание, там было вот такое же здание вот здесь. Там уходит вглубь, вот так, подземку. Сейчас весь закрыли, сверху замуровали. А вон та гора, вот эта гора, шахта, это, плиту делает, плита. Вон в 3 местах, вон та, вот это и вот это. Вглубь заходили. Глубина там сколько, 100 с чем-то метров, короче, заходит. Все.
Wow, yeah, спасибо.
Хорошо, что даже сейчас открыто, секуритов нету.
Okay.
Там это. А то иногда не пускает. Тот раз тоже были, вот как, тоже с Германии было. 2. Их тоже я привез.
Oh, that was very
Все,
interesting.
едем, нет?
Wow, I did not expect to get this close up to the mines, and I did not expect to actually find someone who used to work there, who's born in this town and used to work here. And yeah, he just basically gave me a little tour and explained a lot about the processing plant. Very interesting. I met a Russian couple, an older couple, yesterday at my guest house, who told me they've met some American guys 1 year ago when they were here on holidays. And these American guys also were looking for the uranium processing plant, but they didn't get to see it because it was like guarded. Today there wasn't any guards, but I was very lucky. That was like very, very interesting to see. I do want to add that there has been scientific studies about Kaji Say, and these studies found that the level of radiation is actually extremely high in the area, and additionally the site is rather poorly maintained, and if the structures will collapse, Lake Issyk-Kul and the 400,000 people that live along the shore of this lake could face serious radioactive contamination. Now, I'm on my way back to my guest house. We can see a little bit more of the leftovers of the town. All of this building is abandoned. Maybe we can have a look up here. But yeah, it seems like people here are generally still healthy, according to the guy. From what I've read, there's a slightly higher cancer risk here, mostly because of the fruits and the food that grows here. And my cancer risk probably rose by 0.0001% or something just by being there. I mean, I don't think I disturbed much of the uranium, but there still might be some traces near the processing plant. And yeah, to be honest, like not having guards up there is a little bit irresponsible in my opinion, because like there are random foreigners like me coming here and just like exploring the history, and some people might not be aware of the dangers. I mean, you can't just see that the uranium is there, so not having guards up there is a little bit dangerous in my opinion. Though I'm kind of happy there weren't any today. So here we see some old Soviet apartment buildings, and I think people are still living in there. And this whole apartment block here looks as if it's never been finished, because before the Soviet Union fell, I mean, nobody expected the fall of the Soviet Union. So they were still expanding and building new apartment buildings. And then everything changed almost overnight. And that's what's left here. That is just like a prime example of a post-Soviet town that just never really fully survived the fall of the Soviet Union.